everyone. Don't miss the Ennis, that's the best part. Hi everyone, I hope you've all enjoyed your day so far. I am Sleepeezee brand ambassador, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about my relationship with sleep in relation to my time as an athlete competing and training, and my kind of sleep journey. So, lovely little picture here of me. I think I was about 7 in this picture. But I started athletics when I was about 9 years old. I kind of fell into athletics. So there was no clear plan by myself or my parents, to get me into sport and get me to become Olympic champion. I went down to a summer camp with my sister at Don Valley Stadium in Sheffield, and I was basically just introduced to all the different events. I remember really strongly winning a pair of, I probably shouldn't say this brand because I'm an Adidas athlete, but I think they were Seeker trainers. I don't know if anyone remembers those, but they were the first pair of trainers that I won. And I remember just getting this bug, just this competitive spirit and loving competing and loving trying to be the best and trying to push myself constantly. And I think at that stage it was very much all about fun. It was a hobby. There was nothing about the whole kind of bigger picture of being an athlete and all the things that come with being an elite athlete. And I was just completely hooked at that stage. Between that point and 2012, obviously a lot happened. There was many years of school competitions, of South Yorkshire Championships and junior level competitions, which then led to my first major senior championship, which was in 2006. That was the Commonwealth Games, and I had this whole experience of going to Australia for 3 weeks with a team. I remember my coach saying, go out there, enjoy yourself, just, soak up the atmosphere of elite sport and see what you can do. And at that point, I remember thinking, I'm excited to go there and compete, but I actually want to prove that I can do something amazing. I want to go there, I want to show myself and the rest of the world that I can be really competitive. I walked away from that championships with the bronze medal, and that was my first major senior medal and one that I'm still very proud of to that day. 2 years later, in 2008, I unfortunately suffered a horrible injury before the Beijing Olympics. I had a stress fracture in my right foot in 3 different places. And it was a devastating blow. As any athlete will tell you, you prepare and you train so hard, and injuries strike you at lots of random, unpredictable moments. And I think it was in that time that I really understood the importance of being an athlete as a whole, not just pushing myself physically and trying to get better and better. I understood the importance of nutrition, of psychology, of sleep and recovery. Allowing your body to adapt to what you're doing was so, so important. And it was an area that I kind of, to a certain extent, neglected. I think in my head I wanted to be, better, faster, stronger, as quickly as I could. And I didn't think about the importance of rest and recovery. So that was a real big kind of critical moment for me as an athlete. Thankfully, I had a great team around me, and the following year in 2009, I was able to travel to my first World Championships that was in Berlin, and I won the World Championships for the first time there. So it was an incredible experience and one that I'll never forget. Okay, so 2012 was a huge, huge year for me, and as all of you can probably remember, it was 10 years ago this year, which is kind of blows my mind to think it was that long ago. I had the most incredible experience of, competing at home games, being the face of the games as a whole, and being able to deliver as well. It was such a huge achievement. But actually, I was about to face my biggest challenge. I had my son in 2014, and I had no idea how hard it was going to be to regain my career, get back to training, get back to being the best in the world, and being a mother at the same time. And it gave me so many different learnings, from just the understanding of how to adapt my training, how to focus on training smart and not training in bulk. So the quality of sessions had to be super high. I couldn't be at the track all day, training and preparing and being away from Reggie, I had to really make those huge sacrifices as to where my priority lied. And I remember thinking at that time, sleep is such a huge, huge part of everything that I'm trying to do. I think anyone here who have had children for the first time and become a mother or father, you realise like how incredibly important sleep is and how little sleep you have when you have a newborn. You know, those 2-hour bursts of sleep through the night, and then you're waking up and then you're back again, and that kind of to and fro, and then being able to get up and train has a massive impact on your performance. So that was a really key moment for me, being able to understand how to adapt the way I trained to suit the kind of the new me that was now training. Thankfully, after having my son in 2014, I was able to come back in 2015 and really get focused on preparing for another World Championships. At that World Championships, I went out there with kind of the expectation of just wanting to do myself justice and do my son proud and just come away with some kind of medal. And in actual fact, I came away with the gold medal in Beijing, and it was probably, in comparison to London 2012, I'd say it was probably one of my proudest moments because it was one of the hardest challenges that I faced. So now I'm retired. I'm an old retired 36-year-old, and life on the track has definitely kind of been left behind me. I still keep fit and I exercise regularly, and my sleep routine has changed again. I think for me, being able to juggle a business that I have and the kids and everything that life throws at you, sleep is so important to allow me to just be able to function the way that I need to function, to be productive and be really present in everything that I do. So I'm still very, very kind of honed into that routine and making sure that I maximise on my recovery and the sleep that I have. My routine at the moment, I always make sure that I set myself up good for sleep so that I'm putting myself in the right environment that I need to be in when I go to bed, go to sleep, that I have the support from the mattress and the cushions and everything around me, and I feel like I'm in a really positive place. And for me, being able to, you know, do those breathing exercises, have those moments before sleep to just take anything out of my mind and relax myself as much as I can before I fall to sleep is something that's also really, really important for me. My kids as well, sleep routine for all you parents, I think it's very hard to establish at the beginning when they're a few weeks old and they're super unpredictable. But for me, having a really good routine with your kids and getting them into a positive pattern of sleep and having a good relationship with sleep is really important. So we were also really, really keen about making sure that we set up the right routine of, you know, nice bath time, reading books, and just getting them into that familiar, predictable routine before bed. And then when things kind of are thrown at you in lots of different directions, whether that's illnesses or, you know, unpredictable things that kids throw in your way, I've always found that having that great sleep routine comes back into play when everything kind of settles down. And I think, you know, we can all say that with children, their personalities and who they are as individuals changes massively when they're tired and they've not had enough sleep. So for me, that routine is really, really important. I think when it comes to travelling as well, as an athlete, I travelled around the world and, you know, went to lots of different countries with lots of different time zones, and I really had to make sure I had a strategy in place to make sure that I could overcome jet lag, that I could kind of adapt to my new environment relatively quickly to allow myself to perform. So travelling around the world, I'd always take my pillow with me everywhere. I'd like to keep that level of comfort and consistency because you don't know what you're expecting with the different hotels you're stopping at and the different environments and tracks. So to have that level of consistency when I was travelling was really, really important. So for me, to kind of wrap up, I think that sleep is so important. it's the backpin of everything for me. It affects your cognitive function, it affects your emotions, it affects your productivity, and it allows you to be the best version of yourself. So I've been super excited to be able to work with Sleepeezee over this time, and really proud as well that they've been able to, I think it's £20 for every mattress that they sold. That money has gone to the Sheffield Children's Hospital, of which I'm a long-standing patron. So they've raised an incredible amount of money for the hospital, which has been, really, really, really exciting for me and the company. So it's been an incredible journey. I'm a massive fan of sleep. I could happily sleep 12 hours every night, but not with 2 kids. And I've loved working with Sleepeezee for this amount of time. So hopefully I've shared a little bit about my journey with sleep, and I'd like to invite you to ask me any questions about sleep, Olympics, medals, whatever you have on your mind. So if anyone has any questions, swing them my way. Don't be nervous. Come on, there's got to be one.
I mean, you hear a lot about the relationship between sleeping and eating. Mm-hmm. And I wondered whether or not you had any particular routine in terms of how and when you took your meals, and particularly the last time that you would eat in the day to ensure you got a good night's sleep.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think every athlete has a plan and a strategy as to when they sleep. So, for example, I would train in the morning, I would come home, I'd have a really kind of planned lunch, and then I would have a nap, like like a toddler lunchtime nap. Most athletes will have a lunchtime nap to allow themselves to adapt from what they've done in the morning and then be able to face the next session of the day. I wouldn't have a cut-off point to when I stopped eating in the evening. I'd just make sure it was the right types of foods. So relatively high carb content in the day, lunchtime, reducing that slightly towards the evening, but also making sure that the calories were there, because you're training so hard and you're pushing your body constantly. You need to make sure that you have the nutrients to be able to recover and adapt from the training that you're doing. Thank you.
You said your training regime changed when you had children.
Mm-hmm.
On average, what was the training that you were doing hourly or per week beforehand, and then how did that change time-wise afterwards?
Yeah, so it was pre the Rio Olympics, so the World Championships in 2015 and the Rio Olympics. Before then, and the lead up to 2012, I would train twice a day, every day, apart from a Thursday. And I would do blocks of maybe 4.5 to 5 hours of training in the morning, short break in like the early afternoon, and then back again for like 3 to 4 hours training later on in the day. So it's quite, very structured, bulky, lots of training, which involved running and plyometrics and weights and all the technical events as well. When I had my son, I had to kind of almost scrap that. I couldn't be at the track for, all day, every day. So my training reduced massively. So I'd go to the track in the morning, do maybe 2 hours to 3 hours maximum of technical work. And then I set up a weightlifting platform in my garage. So I had like an Olympic platform and the bars and everything, so that I could do my weight sessions at home, and then I'd sometimes go down to the track and do an afternoon session, which was roughly about 2 hours. So the volume decreased massively, but in turn it worked out well, because I was an aging athlete like we all are, getting older, and injuries start to play a big part. So that balance between the amount of training that you do and the quality is really important as you progress through your career as well. Thank you.
I think if that's all the questions, we'd like to thank Jessica for her time, and we'll see you in the showroom shortly.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.